On my table I have a home color film development kit from the Bellini photo, and it means today in this video I will make a solutions for later development of my rolls of Kodak 200 film. And this kit is only one option at the moment what I can order, because I order it from the Mecca Direct with a DHL delivery, and it's only one chemicals for the C-41 which is delivered with the international shipment outside of the EU border. And it's only one kit which is certified and can overpass it, but in the same time it's one of the most expensive kits today on the market for the C-41 per one roll of the film. But nevertheless it can be a kit which is much cheaper than this one, but this one have quality. And now let's discuss the main problems what you have with the film development kits. The Bellini photo, it's one of the most expensive film development kits at the moment on the market for some reason, but in the same time I know it's really good, it works and it's producing amazing colors. And it's not all the time the case with the film development kits, and most of the users, I think, blaming the different types of temperature issues, development issues, but most of the time, trust me, it's the chemicals. And it's not all the time the freshness of the chemicals, it's a composition of the chemicals itself. And most of the time people using two-part solutions or one-part solution, and it's not fresh and it's basically cannot develop film properly. And in my experience, Bellini photo making really good chemicals. I have good experience with the RA4 and I have really good experience with the C-41 chemicals. And if you want to buy the real good chemicals, it's only one option. Usually in the market in Europe it's a Fujihan from the Fujifilm, or sometimes you can buy the original Kodak kit, which is also really good, but I never tried it before. And it's only usually available, for example, in the Photo Impacts in person in Berlin. And now let's unpack the box and see what is inside, read the instructions and try to make a solutions for the film development. And because I will use the Argo film processor, I will use the rotation method, so I don't need a lot of chemicals, and this kit is for 1 liter and I need probably half a liter to develop 4 rolls of film, and I will just recalculate how much chemicals I need, because I will probably discard them after use, and it will be relatively one-shot development, so I will make 2 runs on the same chemicals, and after that I will discard the chemicals, and in future video I will show this process to you. And if you're curious which C-41 kit is the best, I have the guided list of my opinions, comparison and prices and amount of rolls which you can develop per one kit, and I will send it to my subscribers to my email newsletter, so if you want to join it, go in a subscription and click and put your emails there. Let's start with the unboxing and see what is inside and read the instructions. And this is one of the most important parts usually, because I need to recalculate amount of chemicals for half liter, and because I'm using half liter Yobo CPE bottles, these bottles I really like, they high quality and really easy to use and ideal for the rotational method, and I will make the kit adaptable for that, and I will dose it and show you how to make recalculations. So inside I have the instruction printed in the A4, and this is how to make the chemicals. And inside I have a few bottles, and we will make the review of the bottles, condition of the bottles, and how to make this chemical works. Bellini kit is a single part developer kit, so it means I have only one bottle for the color developer, and this is 260 milliliters of the color developer, and this is everything what we need. But in general they also sell this bottle separately, because the bleach fix works much longer than the color developer, so you can basically extend the work a little bit, or if you use a single shot solutions, probably this is also a good idea to buy 2 of these bottles. The next one is the bleach, so it's a separate solution of bleach, and I really like this approach because the bleach itself with the fixer in one bottle expires quite fast, and I think it's much better to have the separate bottle with the bleach array. And next one is the fixer, so basically this is a fix and it's separate solution, which I also really like. And the final one, which used for the rinse, is a stabilizer. Nowadays it's just cold stabilizer. I don't really think it's stabilizing anything, it's just basically a surfactant agent which decrease amount of dust and basically easy to remove the water from the film itself, because usually stabilizer, at least in the past, they was quite toxic because they preserve the color on the film, but nowadays I think it's mostly just for rinsing, and sometimes it's not really necessary thing, so you can use Adaflow, for example, for the film, and if you have it, probably this solution basically unnecessary. But as you can see, I have also 4 bottles for these solutions, so I will prepare exact kit with these 4 bottles and put the 4 bottles as a solution in the half-liter bottles from Yobo. The manual for this kit in 2 languages, first one is Italian, second one is English, so let's start to dig inside. The first of all, what I can see is a capacity, so it can develop up to 12 negative films. Basically it means that it can develop 12 films of the normal ISO, so it's usually 200 ISO film, so do not push it too hard if it's codec 800 or Lomo 800 or something like that, or if you're pushing the film, basically it's not enough fresh chemicals for the proper development in this case. Usually I never pushed it over these boundaries and I use it like 1 film less or 2 film less. So basically if I make half a liter, so I have 2 shots for the development, and I will develop 4 rolls of film. Before, when I have a Yobo processor in my long tank, I can use the full half liter and fill it up horizontally, and I have 5 rolls of film. So basically this is ideal condition, so I just develop with a half liter, I develop 5 rolls of film, and after that I just discard all the chemicals. So it became one-shot solution, and this is ideal for film development, and it will give you best results in the home lab. But in my case, because I will use the Ego film processor, I will use it only with 2 reels inside, because it's much more compact, and at the same time I kind of have the 2 shots, and it's less chance to screw up, for example, temperature for all of the frames and for all of the films, because I don't really have a good experience with that. So bear with me, we will basically learn how to use the system together in the next video, which I will release really soon. And a small funny story, basically this is the water from the DM. So I went to the different country to bring the distilled water because I cannot find anything here locally, but it's funny that my darkroom basically started from that. So I take this bottle and I just cut the top lid from this bottle, put the circulator inside, put the 2 bottles like this inside, and from that I have a heated bath. So it's a minimalistic option how to make a heated bath. If you long enough on this channel, you definitely remember these times when I was in Munich and starting developing and my first prints and things like that. So it's really great memory, and I still remember this type of distilled water cans, basically my small minimalistic darkroom. It's quite important to actually write down which chemicals you have where, and as you can see here I have one written with a marker and it's an old one, but what I like about these bottles that it's quite easy to write down the chemical names on top, and this one will be our developer, so I will just put the def on top of the bottle. And be careful with what you write, because sometimes it's get washed out and you cannot really recognize anything anymore. So be careful with the notations on the bottles. And when all the bottles is notated, we can easily continue and start putting the solutions inside. So what is good about this kit, that's actually you only need to prepare only one solution. And this solution is the color developer, and this is the reason why. In this manual, because it's for 1 liter, usually you just pour the whole bottle and develop it with a 1 liter, and this is basically everything what you need to do. But here I need to take half of this bottle and put the half of this bottle inside this bottle. And what is good about this kit is actually that you don't really need to make a lot of chemicals, because your bleach is actually ready one, and to make a fixer you just need to dilute it 1:1. So I need 250 milliliters of bleach and 250 milliliters of the distilled water and only 1 complication is preparing of the color developer, because it's a little bit odd ratio, because I'm not preparing the 1 liter, I will need to take half of this bottle. But in general, it's only 260 milliliters, you pour it and you fill it up to 1 liter in the big bottles. But as I said, I will use it as a half liter, and because I will use the 2 rotations and I will develop basically 2 sets of film with the Ego film processor. So let's start dosing the chemicals, and usually it's a good idea to use gloves. Unfortunately, I don't have one here, but I'm a chemist and I'm professional. So watch me, but do not repeat what I'm doing here. But in general, the good idea to have gloves and have glasses, because these chemicals can go in your eyes and they can be quite dangerous, which is actually written on top of the box. So you have a hazards here, so be careful. It's not a joke, it's not the crazy dangerous chemicals, it's more or less the same kind of area of the bath cleaning supplies and acids which used to decalcinate basically your supplies and wash the kitchen or the bathroom. But anyway, it requires attention, lack of kids and animals and stuff like that. But if you spill it accidentally on your hands or something, use huge amount of waters, soap, clean your hands thoroughly before and after the development, and usually this should be enough. So also with me I have these 2 cylinders, one is a 100 milliliter and second one is a 50 milliliter. So most of the time this is only 1-2 cylinders which you need in your life, and you don't really need anything more than that. But also sometimes, for example, for Fuji hunts, and just in case, I bought the 2 syringes, and it's a 5 milliliter syringe, and it's the best way to dose the small amounts of chemicals. So it's quite easy to buy anywhere in a pharmacy, so you don't need a needle, you just need a syringe. And it's a 5 milliliter, quite precise and much better than the plastic cylinders if you need to dose small amounts. For example, if I need to make not the half liter, if I need to make, for example, 250 milliliter for one-shot development, I will use these syringes and I will not use the cylinders, because it's much higher precision, and the idea is to make the bigger volume solutions, because usually they more precise than the small volumes. I will start with the pouring water, and based on the manual, as you can see here, I write down the correction numbers. I need to put inside 370 milliliters of distilled water. Ideal way to do that is actually dose with a cylinder of 200, because each time when you pour the chemicals in a cylinder, you multiply the error. So if it's 100 milliliters, you have 1 error, and if you put it twice, your error is multiplied. So better to use the appropriate cylinders for appropriate volume, but in my case, I only have the 200. For water, you also can use the scales, like kitchen scales, but in my case, I just prefer the cylinders. It's much simpler, and also much simpler to show you how it works. Also, usually if you have big volume of anything, any type of solution, it's much better to use the glass or any type of beaker, which is not volumetric beaker, to put it inside the measuring cylinder. So it's much easier, you will not spill any type of solution, and if it's a small bottle, I will just pour it directly, because as you can see, it's quite easy to pour it here. But if it's a big volumes like this, it's much better to use some kind of an intermediate between. You can pour back and forward with the water, but usually if you overfill the cylinder with the chemicals, never put the chemicals back inside your chemical bottle. It will spoil it quite fast. So in this bottle, it's only direction of the making solution, but never put the chemicals back. It will prolong the life of the chemicals if you dilute it several times. And you need to fill the cylinder up to the level, and usually the meniscus of the water should be on basically the line, not the edges of the meniscus, but the bottom of the meniscus of the water or the solution which you're dosing should be on the line here. So this is 200 milliliters, 70 milliliters on top, and usually you can check that it's aligned only on a table, so no, do not hold it like that. Put it on a flat surface and check the levels of the solutions on a flat surface. And also dilution is really important for C-41, so not make the different volumes of water and expect that everything will work fine. So let's put the last bit of our solution inside the bottle, and our preparation in terms of water is finished. So the next step, what I will do, I will take my C-41 kit developer and put the developer in the proper volumes inside of this bottle. So now I need to make 130 milliliters and put the 130 milliliters in this bottle. So if you use anything like I'm using, for example, this glass, I use it only for distilled water. So never use the glassware for food, for the chemicals. And if you're a newbie and never tried, so never use it. You can use different types of cups, bottles, they cost nothing, but never use the food grade things which you will use in future for food, because this type of chemicals, it's almost impossible to remove from the glass surface completely. And if you don't have the proper chemicals or proper cleaning, so never cross-contaminate anything, and also try to keep your surfaces of the table clean after you, and never use the porous surface, like for example wood surface, to make the chemicals on top and stuff like that if you have a wooden countertop in your kitchen. 100 milliliters of the color developer, and remember, do not push the chemicals back. They only goes in a cylinder or in a discard bin. But in our case, I'm professional and really careful, so I have exact 100 milliliters, and I pour the 100 milliliters carefully in a bottle. And as you can see, you use volumes because this is different density liquid, so it's more concentrated than the water, so you cannot use the scales to dose 100 milliliters here, and because just it's acid and usually or alkaline solutions, so different types of solutions for different purposes, and they have a different densities. And if you want to clean up everything, usually you can pour it back and forward. It also helps with the agitation and mixing of the solution, and usually if it's a several part solution, it's much better to do it this way than to shake the bottle. So I need to clean this cylinder from the concentrate, so it means I need to dilute it back and forward and pour the solution backwards inside the cylinder, and now you have all the concentrate transferred to the final bottle. And when the solution is ready, I just close the lid and I have simple dilution. Because it's a one-part developer, it's nothing else you need to do. You just need to add water, not to mix two chemicals inside. So it's a finished product, and this is our diluted developer. Let's wash the cylinder just in case. It will prolong life of the chemicals with just tap water, and rinse it once with the distilled water and continue with the dosing of the bleach. And also for demonstration purposes, I make the two solutions of the shot. So basically I have two diluted developers, exact same solutions, but as you can see in the end of the bottle I still have a little bit of volume. So it's not ideal to pour the whole 260 milliliters, because probably it's a little bit bigger volume here than 260 milliliters, just because of the tolerance and the cylinders and things like that. So be careful and just measure everything also twice. As I said, bleach is a ready solution, so I just need to pour 500 milliliters of bleach inside this bottle, and I will dose it, but in reality you can just use it on eye and roughly measure, but be careful, it should be enough of the solution for the next round of the development. Usually this is a nastiest chemical, so be careful, do not put it on anything which can be stained, and pour it carefully inside the bottle. So 500 milliliters of bleach ready. Let's also close it and put it aside and wash the cylinder again. As you can see, it's dark yellow color, so it's the same color what is in the bottle. So let's put it aside and wash the cylinder again. And to make a fixer, I need a 1-to-1 dilution, so I need a 250 milliliters of fixer and 250 milliliters of water. And for that, I will use the small cylinder, so I will use 2 dosage of the 100 milliliters and 1 dose of the 50 milliliters solution. Let's take a bottle and start to make the first steps, and I start usually with the water, and after that I add the concentrate inside. 100, 200 and 50. So we have our water done, and next step is put the fixer inside the same manner. It's 250 milliliters of the fixer, 100 milliliters of fixer, 200 milliliters of fixer and 50 milliliters in a small cylinder. So my fixer is ready and I only have the last solution, which is stabilizer. And for stabilizer I will use my small 5 milliliter syringe, because I in general for 1 liter need to add the 10 milliliters, and for this one I will add just 5 milliliters of the solution. And for the stabilizer I will actually use the normal water, and you know why? Because I will add the drop of the 5 milliliters and pour the water in the same time in the retention tank, and I will just wait until it mixed up on the fly. So this is why I'm doing that, because not all the time you have, first of all, the 4 bottles, and secondly, not all the time you have the heating for 4 bottles. So usually you have space for like 3 bottles stacked like that in some kind of a crate, and you heat them up, and if you have 4 it's actually too much, and also actually you need the preheating water. And if I have 4 bottles, so I need the final bottle and I need additional bottle number 5 with water, or I just need the 2 cylinders like this. And because I don't really have a Yobo system anymore where you have a separate cylinders for the distilled water which is preheated, I kind of limited here, so I cannot use the same options what I have before, and I wanna make experiments and I just wanna try something new. And in the next video, when I will develop the film, I will just put the step in a one shot and we will see what will happen. All the chemicals is ready, is on my table, and I just in case made a small bottle with a 250 milliliters of the stabilizer, so I have a chance to try both options, just dosing 5 milliliters and pour 250 milliliters of water inside the Ego film processor, and just ready solution, and I will try both options and see which one I like, and we will go with the flow. And if you want to see how I develop color film with the Ego film processor, wait for the next video, subscribe to my channel, and if you like this type of videos, put the like and the comments below if you're curious about different types of developments, different types of kits. Thank you for watching, and I'm already have the next video for you on my channel, so see you next time.